A new poll shows Donald Trump is gaining more Oklahoma Republicans who plan to vote for him in this state's presidential primary. Political analysts say that Trump's popularity in Oklahoma is being fueled by the same sentiment across the nation and that people are fed up and angry with the established leadership in Washington. Some are left to wonder if that same anger will play a force in Oklahoma state politics.
Donald Trump's recent visit to Tulsa drew a crowd of some 9,000 people. Because the Mabee Center was filled to capacity, thousands were turned away. Trump fueled the rally with the same talk heard at other campaign stops, and he urged supporters to get to the polls March 1st.
But we have a big day, March 1st. You have to get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. Because, you know, if you don't vote, we're just wasting time. We're just all wasting time.
Donald Trump is a phenomenon. Everyone sees that, everyone knows it. He's an exciting phenomenon to certain people, and to other people, he's not quite as an exciting phenomenon.
Pam Pollard is the new face of the Republican Party in Oklahoma. She took over as chairman following the abrupt exit of Randy Brogdon 4 months ago.
There's a candidate for everybody. That's the good news. I think one of the most exciting things is that right now the answer is no one knows. There's not a clear front runner.
Sooner Poll conducted the latest sampling of Oklahoma voters January 17th through the 19th. Pollster Bill Shepard explains the landscape.
Well, our latest poll is showing that Donald Trump continues to lead the pack, and it's a very crowded field of Republicans running for president. And we now show him at 35%, which shows that he is gaining some ground, although we believe that this is due in large part to Ben Carson, who has been second, has fallen.
Trump is up by 18% since the last Sooner poll in November, but Ted Cruz has also gained 7 percentage points since then.
But we are beginning to see a rise of Ted Cruz. He's at 25%. That's 10 points less than Donald Trump, but yet still twice as much as anybody else in the field.
Keith Gaddy is the chair of the Department of Political Science at the University of Oklahoma and a frequent analyst for the Oklahoma News Report.
The problem on the GOP side is that Donald Trump just keeps sucking all the air out of the room and all the media attention as well.
Gaddy says Oklahoma's current recession, induced by the dramatic fall in the price of oil, could play a role in how the vote goes.
But it may make the argument for a guy like Donald Trump a little more attractive here because he's coming from the angle of being a businessman, of pushing back against the status quo.
Oklahoma has just 7 electoral votes, and they will all go to the Republican nominee.
Of course, the Democrat hasn't won this state since LBJ back in the 60s, so we do have a long way to go before we get to that point where we're sending our electoral votes to a Democrat.
Russell Griffin is Oklahoma's Democratic Party executive director. He says the presidential primary and the Oklahoma June primary for Oklahoma legislative seats may provide some indicators about state politics. This is the first time registered independents can vote in Oklahoma Democratic primaries.
The one thing it can tell us is if large numbers of independents are showing up for the Democratic primaries this spring and this summer, it tells us a lot about the crossover potential of those voters. Registered independents are something like 14-15% of the state electorate now.
Griffin says 2 recent special elections show the status quo may be changing in Oklahoma. In September, Democrat Cindy Munson of Nichols Hills was elected to the Oklahoma State House of Representatives. And on January 12th, Democrat J.J. Dossett of Owasso was elected to the state Senate.
These 2 last special elections are heavily Republican districts. We had Republicans voting for our Democratic candidates. These are overwhelmingly Republican districts. So obviously to me that says yes, they are getting fed up with what's going on. I mean, we can't continue to cut our way to prosperity.
Pollard says the outcomes of those elections should serve as a wake-up call to the Republican Party.
Yes, I do want it to send a message to the Republican Party, the Republican voters, the Republican activists, that we cannot take anything for granted in the state of Oklahoma, nor should we ever take a majority for granted in the state of Oklahoma.
Both parties believe the current political climate is serving to engage more voters.